careful, don't trip on your way to the train. My brother sneered, his phone lifted as if he might film me. My mother's laugh followed, sharp and deliberate. She's so gullible. Wait until she realizes. My cousin added the final sting, whispering, imagine her face when the conductor says her ticket isn't valid. Their voices burned through me like acid. What they called fun felt like a ritual sacrifice of my dignity. At the platform, the departure board blinked coldly, cancelled. The crowd swirled past, luggage wheels rattling against the concrete, while I stood stranded, not by fate, but by their deliberate cruelty. HY everyone, my name is Madison, I'm 27. And if you've ever wondered what betrayal sounds like, it isn't a stranger's insult. It's the laughter of your own family, ringing in your ears while you stand alone. Tell me, how do you keep loving people who find joy in your humiliation? The station air smelled of iron and burnt coffee. Overhead lights buzzed faintly, flickering like nerves under skin. My hands gripped the handle of my suitcase, knuckles whitening. A message vibrated on my phone. Relax, Maddie. Just a prank. Don't be so sensitive. You'll figure it out. They imagined me pacing, panicking, maybe even crying. They thought I'd call, beg, plead for a ride home. They thought I'd swallow the humiliation like I always had. But something inside me shifted. The ache of being their punchline transformed into a sharp, quiet focus. I had been the reliable one, the one who covered their rent when paychecks were late, the one who paid off medical bills, the one who said yes whenever they cried for help. They built their safety net out of my sacrifices. And now they were laughing while cutting the ropes beneath me. The sting of their betrayal melted into clarity. If they thought leaving me stranded was funny, I wondered how funny it would be when the flow of money they depended on evaporated overnight. I unlocked my banking app. The glow of the screen lit my face like a spotlight on a stage I hadn't chosen but one I was ready to own. One click could erase years of enabling. The station announcement echoed, next train departing in 10 minutes. My reflection in the glass doors looked steadier than I felt. And I whispered to myself, almost like a vow, tonight, the silence will be mine. The glow of my phone screen burned against my eyes, brighter than the station lights. My thumb hovered, trembling, not from hesitation, but from the weight of what came next. Cancel recurring transfers. Block account access. Freeze shared cards. With each tap, I felt my chest loosen. It was almost poetic, the same device they used to mock me now delivering their quiet downfall. I pictured my mother, wine glass in hand, smirking while she checked the bank notification. My brother, scrolling through his apps only to see transaction declined. My cousin, smug face cracking when his rent payment bounced. The silence of their laughter, replaced with panic, would echo louder than any words I could ever say. The announcement blared, final boarding. Around me, strangers dragged bags, rushing to catch their trains. I stayed rooted, calm, as if my own departure had already begun, not on rails, but into a life where I no longer carried their weight. My phone buzzed again. Another message from my sister this time. Bet you're crying. Want us to come pick you up? Say sorry first. I laughed under my breath, a sound I hadn't made in weeks. Not bitter. Not broken. Just free. Closing the banking app, I slipped the phone into my coat pocket. My suitcase suddenly felt lighter, as though the burden of years had been packed away with the cancelled payments. The doors to the next train hissed open. I stepped inside, found a window seat, and let the city blur past me as the train pulled away. The rhythm of the track sounded almost like applause, steady, certain, final. For the first time, their home wasn't my responsibility. Their chaos wasn't mine to fix. Their laughter wasn't mine to endure. I leaned my forehead against the cold glass and whispered, let's see who gets stranded now. The night swallowed my words, carrying them back to the house where their smiles were about to die. The train rattled forward, carrying me farther from the station, but my thoughts stayed tethered to the house I had just severed. I imagined their living room, the same couch where they lounged while I worked overtime to keep the lights on. Their laughter, once so sharp, would be softening now, replaced with confusion. I pulled my phone out again, not to undo anything, but to watch the silence bloom. First ping. Mom, Maddie, did you forget the bill was due? The power company says payment failed. Second ping. Brother, Yo, my card got declined. Did you move money around? Send it back. I'm at the store. Third ping. Cousin, rent bounced. Not funny. Fix it. I stared at the messages, my lips curving into the faintest smile. No one asked if I was okay at the station. No one wondered if I made it home safely. The only panic that moved them was money. The conductor's voice broke through the car. Tickets, please. I handed mine over, valid and shining, while theirs had been erased. The irony wasn't lost on me. I had been the one stranded, but they were the ones truly about to be left behind. Another vibration. This time, my sister, Maddie, answer. We can't even order food. Cards keep failing. What's going on? I locked the screen, slipped the phone into my lap, and let the train sway cradle me. Out the window, lights blurred into streaks, a reminder that movement is freedom, and freedom is costly. I thought of every holiday when they mocked my gifts because they weren't flashy enough, though I'd spent my last dollar. Every emergency where they promised to pay me back soon, only for me to watch their new gadgets arrive the next week. I thought of the day they called me dramatic for crying alone in my room, while they spent the money I'd wired to them on takeout. And now, at last, they would taste the flavor of dependence without me as the cook. The phone buzzed again, insistent. I didn't touch it. I only whispered, "Let the silence teach you." By the time the train slid into the next city, my phone was vibrating non-stop. Missed calls stacked one after another, a desperate chorus. Their names filled the screen. Mom, brother, sister, even the cousin who once told me, "You're lucky we even let you sit at the table." I let it ring. I let the panic build on their end. Silence was my reply. Finally, curiosity pulled me into listening to one voicemail. My brother's voice, usually so cocky, was cracked with anger. "Maddie, what the hell? My card just got declined at the gas station. Do you realize how embarrassing that is? Fix it, now." I almost laughed. Embarrassing. As if being stranded at a station like a fool wasn't. Another voicemail followed, Mom's voice trembling. "Honey, something's wrong with the bank. The mortgage didn't clear. Please call me back. Don't make this worse." The words "please" and "don't make this worse" echoed like a hymn. How many times had I begged them not to hurt me, not to humiliate me? They'd laughed then. But now, the roles had shifted. The train doors opened. I stepped into the cool night air of a city where no one knew me, where their shadows couldn't reach. The streets smelled of rain, neon lights reflecting on wet pavement. I walked slowly, savoring the taste of my own liberation. The phone buzzed again, this time a video call from my sister. For a moment, I let her face fill my screen, hair a mess, eyes wild, panic replacing her usual smug grin. "Maddie, stop this. The kids are hungry, the fridge is empty. You can't just..." I ended the call mid-sentence, my reflection replacing hers in the dark screen. For years, I had been the net they fell into. Tonight, I had cut the ropes. And the silence on their end was finally louder than their laughter. I checked into a modest hotel near the station, the kind with humming fluorescent lights and faded carpet. It wasn't luxury, but it was mine. No one could mock me here. No one could demand rent money or wave unpaid bills in my face. The phone buzzed again, a fresh flood of messages. I scrolled slowly, almost ceremonially, as if reading prayers written to a God they never believed in until now. "Mom, mortgage overdue. Bank called. Maddie, answer, we can fix this. Brother, don't be petty. Send the money back. You know we need it. Cousin, I can't get groceries. My landlord's threatening me. Don't do this. Sister, you're really going to let the kids starve? Heartless." That last one froze me. Heartless. The word slid under my skin like a shard of glass. For years, they'd fed on my kindness, labeled it duty, laughed at my obedience. Now that the feeding was over, suddenly I was heartless. I typed one sentence, steady and cold. "You thought leaving me stranded was funny. Now you can live stranded, too." And I hit send. The 3 dots appeared instantly, typing, erasing, typing again. Their panic was palpable even through a screen. I powered the phone off, tossed it on the bed, and lay back, staring at the ceiling. The hum of the old air conditioner sounded like applause, steady and sure. For the first time, I wasn't their safety net. I was the knife that cut them free to fall on their own. I closed my eyes, imagining them in their kitchen, mom pacing, brother swearing, cousin dialing useless numbers, sister clutching her children with crocodile tears. They had built their comfort on my sacrifices. Tonight, I had repossessed every brick of it. And in the silence that followed, I felt something bloom inside me. Not guilt. Not anger. Something sharper. Control. Morning light bled through the thin hotel curtains, painting the room in a pale glow. My phone, switched back on, erupted with missed calls and voicemails, desperation bottled into digital form. I scrolled, not to answer, but to witness. Mom's voice, weary and shaky. Maddie, please, we didn't mean it like that. It was just a joke. You know we love you. Call me, sweetheart. Brother's tone, harsher, bitter. So what, you're punishing us now? You think you're better than us just because you've got money? Don't forget where you came from. Sister's tears dripping into the microphone. The kids are crying. They don't understand why there's no food. How can you do this to family? Every word was crafted to tug at my guilt, the same guilt that had chained me to their debts for years. But guilt, I realized, only works when love is equal. What they gave me wasn't love, it was mockery dressed as family. I opened a new message thread, my fingers steady. Family doesn't strand one of their own at a train station for fun. Family doesn't laugh at someone's pain. Don't use that word with me again. I hit send, then tossed the phone aside, letting the silence swallow their attempts to manipulate me. The hotel walls hummed with the sound of pipes, the city outside alive with honking horns and distant chatter. Life moved on, without them. I thought of all the years I worked double shifts so my brother could get back on his feet, only for him to blow cash on weekends. Of the nights I covered mom's late fees while she bought new clothes for parties. Of the countless apologies I gave for daring to ask for respect. Now, their apologies were landing at my feet, fragile and meaningless. And for the first time, I didn't feel the urge to pick them up. I whispered into the stillness, if they want forgiveness, let them earn it. The way I earned every dollar they wasted. By evening, the messages shifted tone. No more half-hearted apologies or crocodile tears. Now it was raw panic bleeding through every notification. Brother, the bank froze the account. They are saying missed payments. Maddie, come on, you can't just walk away from us. Mom, they are threatening foreclosure. Please, please talk to me. I swear we'll make it up to you. Sister, the kids are hungry. If you don't help, you'll regret it forever. Regret. That word tasted bitter on my tongue. For years, I had lived in regret, regretting saying yes, regretting being too soft, regretting trusting them one more time. Tonight, regret was theirs to carry. I sat at the hotel desk, the dim lamp buzzing, and began typing slowly, each word deliberate. I didn't walk away. You pushed me. Every laugh at my expense, every prank at my dignity, every demand you made without thanks. This is the bill you never thought would come due. Now you're paying it. I hit send. The 3 dots blinked on my screen, typing, pausing, deleting. Finally, Mom replied, you don't mean this. You're just upset. I answered with one final message. No, Mom. I'm finally calm. And that's what scares you. I powered off my phone, leaving their panic trapped inside unanswered bubbles of text. The silence was almost holy, a hymn I had waited my whole life to hear. Leaning back in the chair, I let the hum of the city seep in, the distant sirens, the muffled music from a bar down the street, the sound of my own heartbeat settling into a steady rhythm. For the first time, I wasn't their safety net, their wallet, or their punchline. I was simply Madison. And that was enough. As I turned off the lamp, darkness wrapped the room, but it didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt like freedom. Tomorrow, they would wake up to a reality built without me. And I would wake up to myself. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the thin curtains, golden and unrelenting, like it was daring me to step into a new life. My phone, silent now, lay on the nightstand. Not because they had stopped calling, but because I hadn't turned it back on. Their voices, their chaos, it no longer had permission to enter my space. I walked to the small cafe beside the hotel. The aroma of fresh coffee, the sound of clinking mugs, the murmur of strangers. It felt alive, real, untouched by the weight of family politics. For the first time, I could breathe without calculating who needed what from me. As I stirred sugar into my cup, I thought about them, mom pacing, brother shouting, sister crying, cousins scheming. Each of them had built their lives on the illusion that I would always be there to catch them. I had been their invisible backbone, their silent provider. And now, without me, they were forced to stand, or collapse, on their own. But here's the truth, I didn't want them ruined. I didn't want to see them homeless or starving. My revenge wasn't about destruction, it was about revelation. They had mistaken my silence for weakness. Now, that same silence was the loudest lesson of their lives. I finished my coffee slowly, savoring the warmth. In my bag was a folder of job listings for a new city, a new start, one where my name wouldn't be tied to anyone else's debt, one where I could laugh without the sound being stolen. As I stepped out onto the street, the air was crisp, the world wide open. The train that had once left me stranded was long gone, but it had carried away more than just passengers, it had taken the last pieces of who I was to them. And what it left behind was someone unrecognizable. Strong. Untethered. Whole. I whispered into the morning breeze, words meant for no one but myself. They thought they stranded me. But I was the one who finally left them behind.